every way.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi News.
This is the Election Bureau. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11, Dr. Martin Loop in Adabraka, Accra. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Coming up this afternoon.
The 8th Parliament has been the least. It's been full of controversy. Matters that previously we used to sit there and discuss and overcome and do. Now we take them into fisticuffs. That is most disappointing to me.
Leadership of Parliament admits to the disappointing conduct of members of the 8th Parliament as First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei-Wusu laments increasing controversies. Meanwhile, as the majority caucus hints of plans of recalling the House, we'll hear from a member of the minority who says any recall of Parliament will be unreasonable. Also coming up in the bulletin. Wailing at the Christ the King Catholic Church as family of the second victim of the fatal East Legon clash lays their only child to rest today. Still ahead in the bulletin, former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo worried over seeming bias of courts in the country as he warns of his impact on Ghana's peace.
If your interpretation is tilted so much towards us all the time, it will create a problem.
And later, Amnesty International welcomes Ghana's decision to make attempted suicide no longer a crime.
The bill was passed in Parliament last year, so this is a very good win for Ghana in terms of looking at human rights issues.
Stay with us for details of these and more stories coming your way in the next 30 minutes. Remember, the news is live across the globe on citinewsroom.com. Around the country, we're live on a number of affiliates. If you're listening to us from the Western region, this is Adrimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa Beach, 105.5 FM in Takoradi. In the Bono region, this is Green at 95.9 FM in Sunyai. In the Ashanti region, tune into Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi. Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, this is Revival 99.3 FM in Tajevu, VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi. In the Northern region, tune into Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In Upper East, Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. And in the Upper West region, this is Tunsong 97.3 FM in Wa and Jirapa 96.1 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Grateful you could join us this afternoon. Let's bring you details of our stories. Former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo is urging Ghanaian electorates to combat the unprecedented rising levels of corruption in the country by voting against corrupt leadership in this year's December elections. Now, speaking at an event organized by Crusaders for Change in the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua, Daniel Domelevo expressed worry over the increasing cases of corruption in the country.
What kind of generation is this? It's a very wicked generation. The generation ahead of us is a very wicked generation. They want to take everything today and what will even come tomorrow. And we must stop it. You have enough knowledge and power to say to our leaders, no, enough is enough. Unfortunately, we are in an election year. Let's say enough is enough to anybody we think is corrupt, not only at presidential level, but even at parliamentary level. You know them. Even this is assembly. You see the guy is corrupt and you keep voting for him. Are you not making the corruption to survive? So please, let's make sure that we stop them in their track. Otherwise, you and I, we have no future.
Well, Daniel Domelevo is also worried about the seeming bias of the courts in Ghana in adjudicating cases in the country.
My last admonition go to the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court. I would like to admonish them that they should heed to the advice given them by the Minister of National Security. Honorable Kandapa told them that if your interpretation is tilted so much towards us all the time, it will create a problem. Obviously, it's creating a problem. Because most of you knew what the results was going to be before it came. I don't think we need that. We need professionalism. We have only one country.
You heard Daniel Domolevo, he's a former Auditor General. Now speaking at the same event, the Chief Crusader against corruption in Ghana, Emmanuel Wilson Jr., said Ghana has lost the fight against corruption.
We have lost it. And the reason why we have lost it is because, you see, when you are fighting corruption, there are three things that you need. First one is leadership. The second one is institutions. And the third ones are laws. And when I make reference to institutions, not just general institutions, I'm making reference to anti-corruption institutions. The same way when we are making reference to laws, I'm not just talking about any laws, we are making reference to anti-corruption laws. We have totally lost the fight against corruption in Ghana, and that is why we describe it as a nation in a sinking ship. Look, when you talk of the institutions, anti-corruption institutions, IOCO, SHRAJ, Special Prosecutor, CID's department, what you can think of all of them, the IGP's office and all that. The first question you ask is, who appoints these individuals?
You had the Chief Crusader against corruption in Ghana, Emmanuel Wilson Jr. Let's move on now. Amnesty International has welcomed the decriminalization of attempted suicide in the country. Last year, Parliament amended sections of the Criminal Offences Act 1960 decriminalizing attempted suicide. Now, the amendment means that any person who attempts to take their own life will now be treated as having a mental health issue requiring legal support and assistance. The Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono has since indicated that attempted suicide is officially no longer classified as a crime. Well, reacting to this, the country director for Amnesty International, Genevieve Partington, said the development is a significant step in ensuring that vulnerable individuals receive the help they need rather than facing criminal charges.
The bill was passed in Parliament last year. So this is a very good win for Ghana in terms of looking at human rights issues. Most of the time, attempted suicide and suicide is mostly, 90% of that is based on mental health conditions, sometimes out of depression or schizophrenia and the likes. People tend to, attempt suicide. So it's a good call, and we're happy that the government and the magistrates, they're finally doing something about this. I believe even with that, initially it was a misdemeanor, which still makes it it's a criminal offense under the Criminal and Other Offences Act. And it's been in Ghana's law books for years. So this is really, progress in terms of acknowledging that suicide is not a crime, and it has more to do with the mental health condition of individuals, which is something that Ghana as a country, we need to look more at, as people face a lot of depression, stigma, and other mental health conditions.
Well, Genevieve Partington also outlined the need for the government to strengthen mental health services across the country to provide adequate support for individuals facing such challenges.
We'd have to do more community engagement, first of all, because, like you rightly said, people see suicide as a sin. So maybe community engagement with religious bodies to help destigmatize society's perception on suicide, but also supporting the mental health authority and the mental health, the hospitals and institutions dedicated to well-being. I think it's very important that the state really takes interest in that. In terms of NGO and private sector, it should be something that every senior management official should be concerned about. A lot of the time, people tend to be depressed and have thoughts of being suicidal because of maybe their workplace, maybe unemployment, poverty, trauma, loss of a loved one. So all these things are very, very key social issues and concerns that we all need to look at and be better. So, it's relieving to know that Ghana is making progress in terms of mental health. There definitely needs to be more done in terms of destigmatizing how people view suicide in our society.
Well, you heard Genevieve Partington. She is country director for Amnesty International. Away from that now, the executive director for the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, has described as unscrupulous the decision by the Electoral Commission to approve 13 candidates to run in the 2024 presidential poll. The EC in September this year cleared 13 out of 24 applicants, including political party representatives and independent candidates, following what it described as a thorough vetting process. Now, speaking at the first anniversary lecture in honor of the late legal practitioner Koto Ampao, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh argued that some of the minor parties participating in the elections are proxies of the major parties.
There are 13 or so people on the ballot. I think if the Electoral Commission was more diligent and scrupulous, there would be fewer. One has to wonder why. We have the numbers that we keep having on the ballot every election year, when in fact some of the requirements for being a party, separate from independent candidates, clearly you and I know most of these so-called parties on the ballot do not meet it. But there is folklore about why it is that they are on the ballot. And it is basically as proxies for one or the other of these two parties, for the purpose of influencing decision-making at the IPAC, is the theory that I hear.
Professor Henry Kwesi Prempeh is Executive Director of the Center for Democratic Development, Ghana. Now, let's do some stories related to Parliament. Now, the First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Wusu, has expressed disappointment in the conduct of members of the 8th Parliament, stating that the House continues to be involved in controversies rather than focusing on its primary responsibility of lawmaking. Now, he says the current Parliament has fallen short in passing key legislations compared to previous sessions, hence losing its focus in discharging its duties. He spoke to Citi News regarding the development in Parliament.
Let me say that I'm disappointed in the 8th Parliament generally. I said it the other time that we have done very little in legislation. You can just take the number of laws and smaller legislations we have done. We've wasted so much time on inconsequential things, inconsequential matters. Our main job is making laws. I'd go and take the number of laws we have made in the last 4 years and compare with the other parliaments. And you see that the 8th Parliament has been the least. It's been full of controversy. Matters that previously we used to sit there and discuss and overcome and do, now we take them into fisticuffs. That is most disappointing to me. The whole essence of democracy is to encourage people to exchange ideas. So if Parliament, which is the entire reflection of the country, we cannot sit down on any matter to discuss and agree or agree to disagree, where is our democracy?
First Deputy Speaker Joseph Osei-Wusu there. We'll stay on related subjects, and the Member of Parliament for Busa South, Dr. Clement Park, has described the decision by the New Patriotic Party caucus in Parliament to petition the Speaker to recall the House as unreasonable. The Majority Leader, Alexander Penyomakin, announced plans to trigger a recall of the House on Wednesday, barely 24 hours after Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin adjourned the House indefinitely over controversy surrounding the declaration of some 4 seats vacant. Here's the Member of Parliament for Busa South, who is a member of the NDC caucus, reacting to this development.
I believe our colleagues on the minority side are being unreasonable. The standing orders make provision for petitions to be collected, which would then trigger a recall of Parliament by the Speaker. But what is the point of recalling Parliament when underlying issue for which reason the Speaker adjourned Parliament sine die has not been addressed? I mean, the situation has not changed. The ruling of the Supreme Court, or if you like, the order that we have now become aware of, as indicated by the Speaker, as far as we know, has not been given effect. And the substantive case is yet to be heard to determine whether the declaration of the board as per Article 97(1)(g) and H by the Speaker is lawful or not. So once these fundamental issues remain unresolved, if Parliament is recalled, the situation would not change from what occurred yesterday. So it simply doesn't make sense.
Well, Dr. Clement Park also urged the NPP caucus to take responsibility for the indefinite adjournment of the House by the Speaker.
If government business has come to a halt and has not progressed, it is not because the Speaker prevented that from happening. Neither is that because the NDC majority in Parliament prevented that from happening. It is, in fact, the NPP minority which decided to boycott proceedings, and on the basis of that and other prevailing circumstances, the Speaker deemed it fit to adjourn Parliament indefinitely. So we can explain the government side in Parliament ought to bear full responsibility for what has happened. In any case, if they are treated, they are now former members of Parliament well. If those members of Parliament had not chosen to jump ship and to file to contest the upcoming election as independent parliamentary candidates, none of this would have happened. So they must blame themselves, but nobody else.
You heard the Member of Parliament for Busa South, Dr. Clement Park. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. Still ahead in the bulletin, family of second victim of fatal East Legon clash lays their only child to rest today. We'll bring you details of that and other stories shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD+ boxes. Channel 1 TV. Telling your story, empowering change.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Update you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Yeah, welcome back. Let's bring you some more stories on a sad development. Justine Agbenu, one of the victims of the tragic East Legon accident, has been laid to rest. Now, Justine, along with her friend Mami Jumo Boateng, lost their lives in a fatal car crash on Saturday, October 12, while returning home from a party. The burial mass took place at the Christ the King Catholic Church this morning, where families and friends, community members gathered to pay their last respects. The ceremony was marked by heartfelt prayers and tributes reflecting the love and admiration many had for Justine. Let's hear from NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West Wuogon, John Dumelo, who was there and says speed ramps must be constructed on the stretch where the incident occurred to reduce speeding.
I think for somebody who is contesting in Ayawaso West Wuogon and driving through East Legon, to be honest with you, most of the roads have speed ramps, and I think that is the only road that doesn't have any speed ramp, the inner roads, if you look at it. And so I think as a matter of urgency, speed ramps should be constructed there, not because this happened, but because it reduces the kind of speeding that a lot of people speed. I mean, East Legon, you have a lot of bars, restaurants, you have a lot of, it's an economic hub, and so in the evenings, most people like to speed there, which is wrong, because speed limit should be 30 or 40 or 50. And I think so that particular road, speed ramps have to be constructed, and any other road around the constituency and even across the whole country.
John, in this matter, would you want to see justice being served?
I mean, definitely. I don't want to preempt anything, but of course, something has happened, an accident has happened. Let's see the law take its own course and see where the case goes. But of course, it's something that we should follow through.
So you heard the NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West, Wagon John Dumelo. He was speaking to my colleague Akosia Ochre, and Akosia Ochre joins us live on the phones for more updates. Good afternoon, Akosia. Thank you for your time. What can you say about the mood during the service today?
Well, Ajwa, if you've ever had or have ever been hit by the passing of a loved one, then the atmosphere here should give you an idea of what it means to be loved by people, especially when you are the only child. That is the atmosphere here, a cold one that I can feel in the auditorium or even at the compound of the Christ the King Church that's opposite to the Jubilee House. Hundreds of people coming in here, some members of parliament, family members, Christ the King Church, attendees, all tripping in here to, join in the mourning of the late Justine. What we know is that the family said they were not going to hold a black event. So everyone you see here was clad in white, just to, be in line with what the family wants. So that is what happened here a while ago. Let me say that the family of the late Justine have been very tight-lipped on the issues. We have been trying to speak with them on the accident matter, the fact that it's been fought, what they want. Well, they have been
Akosia, kindly reposition yourself. We're losing you on the line.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Ajwa?
Yes, it's clear now.
Okay. So the family of Justine Agbenu have been, tight-lipped on the matter regarding the accident. All they want is that the body should be laid to rest, and then the matter which is currently in court will be dealt with. So today they had no interviews. They did not even speak about the accident in their tributes that was read while the service was ongoing. There were tributes that were read by the friends of Justine, where they say that she filled their lives with warmth and love. That is the description that was given by the friends. Or for the church members, they were so excited that a number of people came in. Some were not really sad or did not give the family the impression that we are here to mourn, but to just give the impression that the person is in the hands of the Lord. That is, Justine is in the hands of the Lord. And so whatever happens, let's leave it to God. And so that has been the mood generally at the auditorium.
Akosia, before I let you go, I heard you talk to the NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West, Wagon. You've also mentioned that the family has been tight-lipped on anything related to the incident. But have you had other people, calling for justice for the incident that happened?
Yes. Interviews that we had off record from friends that we have spoken to, they say that they really wish that this matter would not die, but would be in the news from now till the justice is served. And so they have not spoken to me on camera. I mean, they do not have the permission of the family to speak, but from what they have been telling me, they really wish that justice is served in this matter, but they have not come on record to say anything on that. But that's been the position of friends and aunties and uncles that I spoke to when the funeral mass was ongoing.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. That's Akosia Ochre. She's my colleague reporting to us from the burial mass of Justine Agbenu. She's one of the victims of the tragic East Legon accident. We hope her soul rest in peace. Let's bring you some other stories. This afternoon, the paramount chief of the Ati Mokwa traditional area in the central region of Siadeyo Kwesi Kenin IV, who has been sued for allegedly engaging in illegal mining, has been hit with a fresh suit where 9 other mining companies have accused him of illegally trespassing on their mining concession. He is already involved in a legal battle for illegally mining on the concession of Kadesh Mining Enterprise. And now the 9 mining companies who have filed this fresh case against the paramount chief want the court to, among other things, restrain the chief and his labourers from invading their concession. They are also praying the court to order for the already mined areas to be reclaimed. The judge presiding over the case's Lordship Samuel Faraday Johnson adjourned the hearing of the case to 28th October during court proceedings today. Now, he notes that he awaits the Kumasi High Court's determination on the jurisdiction within which the case of the Kadesh mining enterprise against the chief will be heard. Let's move on now. Stakeholders in the construction and health and safety sectors are pushing for increased engagement with residents living near construction sites to improve their responsiveness to danger alerts. This comes after a recent rock blasting incident, part of the ongoing road expansion on the Kasua-Bunubra stretch, resulted in the tragic deaths of 3 people and left over 30 injured. City News' Daniel Odro-Mensah report.
On Monday, October 14, 2024, a tragic incident occurred on the Budumbram stretch of the Accra-Winneba Highway when a rock blasting operation by a construction company caused significant damage. Reports show that the blast, which lasted only a few minutes, was carried out after traffic was halted on the highway. According to local residents, this is not the first time such blasts have occurred in the area. They note that previous operations have often caused damage to the roofing of houses near the Big Apple area. Stakeholders in the construction, health, and safety sectors are urging construction companies to enhance communication with residents regarding potential dangers. The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, Emmanuel Cherry, voiced his support for this call.
The opinion leaders of the community entirely must be called to a meeting. Educate them, sensitize them, let them understand that these are ramifications, these are the challenges that we are being encountered, and that is going to endanger the construction of this particular site. The best we can do is to blast this. Blasting, these are the implications, the good side and the bad side. So therefore, if we all agree, then this time around, we'll be doing this 1, 2, 3. So the community must be conscientized, well educated, before you have that mindset of going to plan this and say you are blasted. The time must be wrapped. So for instance, if it's 4 o'clock, you are giving the 4 o'clock today. We're going to do this. So everybody will be in the know.
Some residents living near construction zones have also echoed the need for improved communication.
Anytime they want to explode something, they have to inform the neighborhood, those who are around that place. They have to inform them before they do it. Other than that, it will kill so many people or it will destroy people's life. So the construction man, the manager, he have to inform those around that areas, so that they will be aware and they will save themselves from that incident.
An occupational safety and health expert, Jonathan Enchi, stressed the importance of contractors adhering to mandatory safety protocols before carrying out any blasting operations.
The Minerals Commission, that is the LI 2177 section 175, titled Use of Explosives in Surface Mines and Waste, Precautions at Blast Sites. Where the incident happens can be termed as a blast site, because that's where they did the blasting. It says that the blast man in charge of a blast site shall conduct a blast site inspection and identify and mitigate any hazard that poses an unacceptable risk before loading of explosives to commence. Then we have some responsibilities of the manager also in question. So these are some of the things that they should have implemented before blasting it.
The Ministry of Roads and Highways has reiterated its commitment to safety and ensuring strict compliance with procedures during controlled blasting activities.
You heard that report filed by Citi News' Daniel Odro-Mensah. Now, the National Commission for Civic Education, NCC, says Education, health and employment are the top areas of concern for voters in the 2024 elections. The report shows that many voters want issues related to the free senior high school policy addressed, while young voters are concerned about employment. Speaking at the report's launch, the NTC's Director of Research, Monitoring and Evaluation, Dr. Henrietta Sapon, highlighted that these areas consistently rank as top concerns for citizens.
Now to the issues that are great concern to Ghanaians. We found 19 issues coming up when it comes to issues of concern, and we have always looked at the top 3 or 5 issues. So for this year's study, the top 5 ranked issues were education, employment, health, roads and infrastructure, and issues related to the economy. Those were the top 5. The others are the middle. Now we have sports, environment and climate change. There's a lot of talk on climate change, but this study has come to the fact that Ghanaians are not too keen in terms of climate change and issues related to ICT.
You heard the Director of Research, Monitoring and Evaluation for the National Commission for Civic Education, Dr. Henrietta Sapon. And that's our package for you for today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios in Adabraka, Accra. Do remember to log on to citinewsroom.com for more stories and follow us on social media using the hashtags GhanaPost2024, hashtag CitiVerify and hashtag Election Bureau for all your election-related stories. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domina. Thank you for your company. Good afternoon.
City News.